Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. My name is Kimmy Trex, and I am your host of today's MVP session. I want to hurry up and get this thing started because I am so incredibly excited to welcome in none other than Laurie Hernandez. I have the honor of being an NFL host and on-air personality, so I get to interview athletes all the time. Laurie, when I tell you I woke up this morning and was literally in my head doing flips and cartwheels and all of those gymnast types of things because I was so incredibly excited to have this conversation today. You have inspired not only me, but an entire nation of people as an Olympian. You brought home 2 medals back in Rio in 2016. Again, when the Olympics were going down in 2016, as you were doing your floor routine in the beam, I too was trying to do all of the things that you were doing, not as graceful and not taking home Olympic medals, but again, just showing the reach that you have to all of us who are watching and rooting for you. But not only are you an Olympian, but you also brought home the coveted mirror ball trophy on Dancing with the Stars back in season 23. You're also a 2-time selling New York Times best-selling author, the first one with your book back in 2017 entitled I Got This, to Gold and Beyond, and then a year later, your children's picture book entitled She's Got This. You're a second-generation American as your grandparents are from Puerto Rico, making you the first U.S.-born Latina to make the U.S. team since 1984. You're currently training to compete for a spot on the Olympic team in Tokyo this summer, but when you're not on the road training and competing, you're a fierce advocate for the importance of mental health and have partnered with multiple campaigns and initiatives to encourage awareness, also showing your reach not only as an athlete, but as someone who uses your platform for good. So welcome into today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for the introduction. It's crazy when it's said all at once. I forgot how busy everything is, but thank you so much. I'm so excited to chat with you today. It's going to be wonderful.
It's going to be amazing. It's also International Women's Day, so let's give it up for the ladies. We got 2 ladies. We're going to have an incredible conversation. But for all of those who are joining us around the world, this is truly a global event, Laurie. We have service members and their families from all over the world joining, and they're eager to ask you questions. So there is a Q&A chat function here on Zoom. If you want to go into Q&A, you can type your question, and we will try to get to as many of them as possible so that Laurie can answer them, and we can get some more perspective into her incredible life. So Laurie, let's get this thing started. Are you ready?
I'm perfectly ready.
You're ready. You got the flowers in your car. You're ready. I'm ready. Let's start this one off with an easy question. Why was it so incredibly important for you to partner and work with us today at the USO?
Yeah, honestly, my mom was in the Army Reserve for 6 years. And just being able to, as a little kid, my mom had always taught me that like helping other people was always going to be my core foundation and something that is going to be a part of me for the rest of my life. And she was like, before gymnastics, before anything else, your goal is to help people and to inspire. And I feel like USO gives me the perfect opportunity to do that, especially being able to speak with you today, and to get to chat with everybody and really get to know everybody. It's just a really nice experience.
All right, speaking of getting to know everyone, we have service members and some families from all around the world who are so eager to talk to you, which is going to bring us to our very first live look-in. We are going to be joined by Anna, who is joining us from Fort Irwin, California. So Anna, if you're there, we can turn on your camera and unmute yourself. Hello. If you want to give an introduction to Laurie and let her know who you are, and then the floor is yours to answer some questions and ask questions.
I'm Anna Westcott, and I'm from Fort Irwin, and currently I'm in my house. So yeah. And oh my gosh, I'm so excited to say hi to you and stuff because I have your book, and once time you went to my cousin's and I got your shirt signed by you. Just saying. But I'm so excited. And my question is, were you born flexible or did you have to come to it? Because I was not born flexible, and I tried to stretch, but sometimes it's kind of agonizing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first off, it's so nice to meet you. Your energy is contagious. And I don't think I was born flexible. I was born with hyperextended limbs. So like my fingers bend backwards, my legs hyperextend. So it looks like I have really like straight legs. My arms can like kind of hyperextend. I'm sure you can see that. So a lot of times when I'm doing splits, it can look like a really big oversplit, but in reality, I was just kind of born with that. However, the flexibility aspect of it, it takes a lot of stretching. And I think especially before practice starts, being able to do just like 30 seconds on a mat where you're not all the way down can be really helpful. And especially when you're doing those dynamic splits, it helps your hips get ready for that, because you definitely don't want to pull a muscle as well. Stretching with a heat pad works really well if you're able to do that twice a day, not for a long time, but it definitely helps. There was a lot of stretching going on, especially when I was a little kid, because I wasn't born flexible.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
That
you
was
for
like,
your question, Anna. All right, amazing. Oh, Anna, her energy. It's so contagious
whole heart.
because we're all so excited to talk to you. So I know that just a few weeks ago, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, you participated in your very first meet in 4.5 years. We were all eagerly awaiting your comeback and watching it as you crushed it on the beam. How did it feel to be back in a competition and back on the mat?
It felt so good to be back. It was definitely nerve-wracking because there's this feeling of, it's been 4.5 years. Am I gonna choke? Like, am I gonna kind of, do things differently than I usually would, because it's been such a long time. But it was like, as soon as I got out there, as soon as I saluted the judges, especially on beam, I had a wonderful time on floor, but especially on beam, I hopped up on the equipment and it was like this puzzle piece kind of fell into place. I was like, oh, you know what? I know you. like that's an old friend of mine. And it felt like home again. So it was just so good to get back out there.
Was there a lot of kind of like mental training that goes back into, after having a hiatus for 4.5 years and not competing, to, the pressure of, I've been an Olympian, I've competed on the largest scale, on the largest stage in the world with millions of people watching me, and now I have to return, and I guess I have to duplicate it and do it yet again. I'm assuming there's kind of a whole mental aspect that goes into that.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of kind of mental work going into it. There's always, this quote that my coach and I share, which is like, you could be 100% physically ready, and if your mind isn't ready to compete, then you can still fluke it and fall. Whereas you could be 75% ready, and if your mind is ready to go and sharp and focused, you can hit. Like, it will happen if that's what you want. So it's been really interesting kind of playing with this older brain rather than competing at 15 and 16-year-old. I'm competing at 20 and 21 years old. And that, that time frame just existing a little longer has been really helpful. And I think instead of kind of denying those feelings of, I am anxious, but I don't want to feel that, I'm fine, I'm confident. Now it's, I am anxious and I still can hit while feeling this way. And I think that's the biggest mindset change that's happened so far.
You did it. You're doing it. You did it at 15, and now you're doing it now as an adult. And it's so incredibly amazing to watch your metamorphosis and just see you continue to uplift and inspire all of us. All right. I want to stop asking my own questions, because I swear this isn't just between you and I for the next 45 minutes, because you're one of my idols. So I'm trying to like play it cool here. But we have a ton of questions in the Q&A. So Mallory said, you, Laurie, are my gymnastics idol. Who was your gymnastics idol?
Oh, I had quite a few. There were 2 athletes that I watched growing up that were kind of the reason why I started gymnastics. It was, Nancy Lucan and Sean Johnson. But I think in general, someone who really inspires me is Ali Raisman. Her drive when she's out there. She's also like, she's talked about this too, about like being really anxious, being out there. And I remember watching her in 2012 and just seeing how powerful she looked, and also noticing that her body type was really strong and it mirrored mine in a way. Like, I knew my body would kind of grow into its own, and everybody looks different, but to see kind of that representation of just pure strength in somebody, it was really exciting. And her strength is what made her so powerful. So especially coming back and taking 2 years off and watching my body change, it's kind of the same concept of like, my strength is what's making me powerful. And I have just called her over and over again, and during the comeback of being like, I don't know what I'm doing. Everything is different. I feel like I'm working with a new body. And she has just like been there pretty much every step of the way. So definitely Ali. She's super inspiring and just a good human being.
I love that. And it sounds like you and Ali have kind of this joint sisterhood as well, where you root for each other, you cheer each other on, and you uplift each other, and can call each other and say, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing, help me. And you can, talk each other out or into situations to make sure that you succeed. All right, we have some more questions. Laurie, everyone is so incredibly excited. Paisley and Sutton said, what is your most favorite gymnastics event and why?
Ooh, okay. So I feel like naturally I want to say the Olympics, so I'm not going to say the Olympics because that feels like a given. So I think my favorite gymnastics meet that I have ever been to would probably have to be, you know what? I did a competition in Japan in 2015, and it was my last competition of the year. I was still a junior. Junior is like 15 years old and younger. Senior is 16 years old and older. And so I was 15 that year. And I remember getting selected to go to this international competition and walking in and like feeling confident. And every competition that I went to that year, I was able to hit 4 for 4. And I was like, okay, I want to end the year well. And I was able to kind of go in and hit those routines the way that I wanted to. And, just Japan is so beautiful and the culture is so different and the people are so kind. So, yeah.
And isn't it so cool that you literally have gotten to travel and see the entire world while being this incredible athlete and harnessing your power, not only as an athlete, but as a female athlete, and giving representation to all of us incredible young women across the world who look up to you and want to be you and want to be represented on the largest scale. All right, we have some more questions coming in. This one from Kaylin, who is a part of the Navy. They asked, have you ever considered designing your own leotard?
Oh, so I actually do design my own leotards. I'm sponsored by a brand called GK, and they do, I believe, just the whole national team, leotards. And whenever we're competing internationally, nationally, they do like, I'd say like 90% of our leotards. And so to be able to partner with them has been so much fun because I'll be able to give an idea and then they'll send something back and I'll be like, okay, I think I want this tweaked. Or like I've done it before where I've sent like a voice memo to try and describe it because it's just my directions are really rough. But they always seem to get it right. And especially for Winter Cup, that was a leotard that I was able to design. It was my first competition leotard that I was able to kind of handcraft and make my own. And I'll get to do that for the whole season this year. Yeah.
Exciting. I want to cop one. I need to get a Laurie Hernandez leotard. I can't do flips or any of the things that you can do, but I can just rip it and support my girl, right?
Yeah, it brings confidence. You got it.
Right. I'll just wear it. Maybe I'll start to figure out how to be a gymnast one day. All right, more questions. True Major asked, how did you choose between college and elite?
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting topic because a lot of girls struggle with trying to decide what they want. But since I was a little kid, I always knew that I wanted to entertain and to act and to imitate and to kind of be that, center of attention that's in a performing aspect. And that's why gymnastics works out so perfectly because I get to do that all the time. And so when the opportunity came to go pro, I had already had a verbal commitment to University of Florida for a gymnastics scholarship. And we got this opportunity to go pro in 2016. And I took it pretty fast because my mom and I had talked about it the year before. And she said, if somebody offers, this is what you've always wanted and we should take it. And that's kind of what happened. So I have no regrets. It was, I got really lucky that it was a really easy decision for me to make.
And it paid off. It works, but it also just kind of solidifies that if you go into something with a dream, even when you're a little kid, as long as you are laser focused on that dream and continue that belief in yourself, really, you can do everything. And we saw you as a prime example of that. All right. I'm really excited to go to this next live look-in. We are going to be going to USO Hawaii, the Joint Base Pearl Harbor in Hickam, Hawaii. So if you are there, you guys can go ahead and unmute yourself and join on camera. There are some very, very, very excited little ones and incredible young people who are excited to meet you and ask some questions. So if you guys want to all introduce yourselves so Laurie knows who you are and then ask your questions, the floor is yours.
Hi. I'm Beck. I'm the Center Operations Manager here. And yes, we have a room full of military kid gymnasts who are so excited to meet you and chat with you. So we'll just get started. We have a pair of sisters here to start with their first question.
Here, I'm Olivia from College Gymnastics. We have a question for you.
Can you guys move a little bit closer and speak a little bit up? We want to make sure that Laurie can hear you.
Dear, I'm Olivia from Island Tumblers Gymnastics. We have a question for you. How many hours a week do you practice and do you do conditioning outside gymnastics?
Ooh, so I typically practice, well, okay, so it kind of depends what time of year it is. If we're getting closer to competitions and camps like I am right now, then I'm doing 6 days a week. But if there's a time where there's no competitions and things are pretty easygoing, then I get to do 5 times a week and I get a 2-day weekend, which is not something that I was used to before. And currently I'm doing, I'd say like 4 to 4.5 hours during practice a day, which doesn't feel like it kind of depends, I'm not sure how long you guys work out for, but to some people 4.5 hours it's like, oh my goodness, that is so long. And then to other gymnasts, they'll look and they'll be like, you only do 4.5 hours. So it's really just a juggle, but everything has been working out perfectly with that schedule. So we've been doing that, and I do condition out of practice. It is more for fun though. I mean, sometimes I do want to get my cardio up and I'll try to go running or something, but to do things that make me happy, like I know boxing is like super random, but to just cross train it and be active in a way that doesn't require me to have to win anything or be competitive, just to move, because the freedom of movement is something to be grateful for. That's usually why I'm conditioning out of practice. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you for your question.
We have another question for you.
Hi, my name is Ainsley, and I go to Island Tumblers Gymnastics. And I was wondering, how did it feel to watch people on the Ninja Warrior course?
Ooh, it was really, really interesting watching them run the course. I was nervous. I was nervous for the kids because I was standing on the side and I got to speak with them afterwards, and I wanted everybody to succeed. I wanted everybody to have a wonderful time. I wanted things to just run smoothly, and it was so interesting to watch these kids do this crazy course. And I was nervous because I wanted the best for them, and all I could think about was how my parents, that's probably how my parents feel when they're watching me do gymnastics. So it was a lot of fun to watch, and I even got to test out the course at the end of the season, and I barely made it, but I made it. It was for the little kids, but I made it. So thank you.
Thank you for your question, Ainsley. Are there any other questions?
So, hi, Annabelle. I'm 19. I'm in the Air Force, and I coach at the Academy. And my question is, when you were younger in gymnastics, what were some qualities that you looked for in a coach or that stood out to you?
Yeah, the biggest qualities that stand out to me in a coach is just someone who meets you where you're at, which can be a really difficult thing because when there are so many kids and maybe for competitions there's a deadline or there's something that needs to happen, and especially it's not happening, things can get really frustrating, and that's okay. That's normal, and especially sometimes athletes do need that kick in the butt. But for the most part, it's kind of remembering that each kid is different, and some kids may work with like that extra motivation of like, yes, let's go full send, like just all that encouragement. And then some kids need the, hey, you're doing the best you can, like it's okay. And at the end of the day, just making sure that they're having a good time and enjoying themselves, while knowing that, yeah, the sport can get really hard sometimes, and there will come a point where maybe one day you don't want to do it because it's hard, and it's important to stick with it because that's where all the good things are. So just having a good support system and knowing that this coach is someone that you can come to when things go wrong and not be afraid of if things go wrong, which unfortunately is a common thing. It's just kind of being that person, that safe haven, that they're like, oh, I know this coach has my best interest, I can trust them. That's the biggest thing.
Thank you.
Hey, Laurie, I'm Anthony Orsillo. I'm a active duty Air Force and a manager at Hawaii Academy Gymnastics. I've had the pleasure of following you for years, and I'm super excited to see you back at the Winter Cup. The fact that after almost 5 years, you're hitting routines. You're throwing a layout at the end of a floor routine, but you're hitting your routine. I think for me, something that has been a huge fear is that Simone Biles kind of causes us to just say that the women's team is doing great, but the kind of underlying thing where our team is falling on almost in every competition, which is different from what your team did in 2012 did. And so it kind of worries me for the Olympics going forward, but it's really nice to see you back and get that consistency back. I did notice that in your winter cut routine, you actually you ended the routine with a back layout, right? So that tells me that there's still some fitness stuff going on. There's some getting back into the shape that you need to be in to get on the international stage again, right? So what realistically do you think is your chances of being in international shape by trials, and what's your fourth pass we're going to see at trials?
So what's really exciting is that I was able to hit full routines this Saturday, just because this training camp, I have to do all 4 events. I would really like to make national team, and the only way to do that is to hit all 4. So we are doing watered down routines. However, they have to be floor routines. So floor, we're going to show double Arabian, front layout, front double, possibly front tuck, not sure, and then double tuck, double pike. We're going to show full on vault, and bars is going to be, we're doing stalder full, shapash, scotches, and then Rickna to pack, front stalder, toe tacked, and then full out. And then beam is going to be the same thing as winter cup, except we're going to add a back handspring out of like one of my lead combos. So thankfully routines are coming along, and we do plan on upgrading for this summer, because my coach and I know very well that like these routines aren't things that could work or stand up when it comes to international competition. So I do expect to be ready. I'm super excited about it. I think in terms of kind of these other girls and questioning their consistency, it's also remembering that it's not, these girls also had to endure a pandemic, and also had to endure an Olympic delay, and also had to endure whatever it is. I know Morgan didn't compete because she came into contact with someone who had COVID, and she's safe, she's okay, but she had to do that quarantine and she missed the meet for it. So it's just, that can be a really interesting situation, and all these girls are doing the best that they can, and I am so excited that I just get to be in the same realm as them.
That's awesome. So you're one of the only gymnasts to actually beat Simone Biles, even if it's just on an event on beam, right? So are you excited to get another chance to try to double that up and beat her twice?
Yeah, here's the thing. I've learned since I was a little kid that if you're coming into a competition trying to beat other people, you're gonna lose. That's just how it always works. That's kind of the last thing that I've ever thought about. Whereas if I go in there and I want to hit the best routine that I know I can do, then no matter what the result is, I'm proud of myself, and that matters way more to me than whatever place I get. So it's going to be the same thing going on this year of like, I want to go in and I want to hit a smashing beam routine, because that makes me feel so empowered. And whatever the score is, if I medal, if I don't, no matter what the place is, these last 3 years have been nuts. So that's kind of how it feels.
That's awesome, Laurie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your questions. Are there any others, or was that it? All right.
Nope, that's it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. So nice meeting you guys.
Thank you all, coming in live from USO Hawaii. As you can tell, everyone's so eager and excited to ask questions and just get your perspective and your advice, because again, you are a hero to so many of us, and being able to see you on the largest stage and see your impact, it really is inspiring to so many of us. So again, we have so many questions coming in. Reminder, if you are watching us from around the world, continue to ask those questions in the Q&A box. But Brandy is wondering, I'm about to relocate to Fort Carson, and I'm really nervous to leave my gym and start at a new gym. Do you have any advice at all? Thank you.
Yeah, that fear of going to a new place and being curious about what's going to happen is normal, and that's okay. It's okay to be nervous about those things, and you can be scared of this new environment and still thrive into it. And the change can be uncomfortable because you do feel safe and you like where you're at right now. So first of all, I commend you for still doing gymnastics, even though change is constantly happening, because that's kind of life. You're just going to have to adapt to all the things that are thrown at you. And you're doing exactly that by just asking that question. I think just doing your best to communicate with your coaches and communicate with your teammates that you'll end up meeting, and trying to make those friends and gaining like a little community, because that's going to be your squad for the time being. So there's always that. And then at the end of the day, just making sure that you love gymnastics, and this sport is going to be your safe haven. So I wish you the best of luck. You got it. I'm proud of you. Also, get everybody's Snapchat so you can stay in touch.
I love it. Good luck on your relocation, and congrats for sticking with it. I'm sure you will crush your new gym. Okay, more questions. Addison asks, What is your favorite event? Mine is beam and my sister's is floor. I like beam because it makes me feel like I am a queen because it is so tall and I'm on top of it and I just stick it. That was asked from Addison and Lexi. So what is your favorite event?
Ooh, 2016, and I still kind of feel this, but 2016, I would have said floor because I like performing and I still do. So it is my favorite, but beam is tied, if not maybe even just inched above it like this much, because I actually used to hate beam. I didn't like it. It was terrifying. And the thought of standing on, something that's only 4 inches wide, and when I get nervous, everything shakes. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to stay on to this when I'm feeling like this. And now it's become like my safe haven. It's become my safe place. If I'm having a bad workout, beam is the event that I go to center myself and feel calm. And the fact that I've taken something so difficult and made it my safe place is really empowering to me. So I'd have to say that beam is my favorite.
I love that. Incredible answer. I also loved how Addison said she likes beam because she feels like a queen on top of the world. And I'm sure you can resonate with that. Another question came in from, let's see, what inspired you to be an advocate for mental health and literacy?
Ooh, so my mom is a social worker and a therapist. My sister is a therapist. I see a therapist. And so I've kind of been surrounded by mental health and big feelings since I was a little kid. And I think sparking that conversation with someone so young leads them to be a little more emotionally aware as they grow up. Now, I'm not saying I know everything. I don't. I actually have no idea what's going on like 90% of the time. But being able to check in with myself and make sure that I'm doing okay and that my cup is filled up here, that allows me to give more to other people and also to give more to myself when I'm at practice, or if I do have to condition outside of practice and it's not for enjoyment, it's so that way I can get stronger. All those things are really important. And I think, when I would compete when I was little, I got really intimidated and nervous by all the girls who would compete, and they would hit their routines and they looked so stoic and so serious. And they didn't look nervous at all. And now I know better. I know that they were probably terrified, but at a young age, I didn't know that. I thought they just walked up and felt confident. And I did not feel those things. And I noticed that the more that I talked about it, the more that other girls were going, I feel that too. And there was this connection that was happening. And then now I have all these crazy platforms on social media, and if I'm doing competitions like Winter Cup, I get to openly talk about how sometimes the comeback kind of sucks because it's hard. And that's why we do it, because we love accomplishing hard things. So mental health definitely plays a big role in that. And I just want everybody to feel connected and comforted, and hopefully something I say, somebody will go, that's the words for it. I couldn't place it. That makes sense.
And that's why it's so incredibly important that you have used your platform, especially regarding mental health, because as we know, there are a lot of negative stigmas associated. But when people that you idolize or people that you look up to openly speak about their own experiences, then you kind of take it into your own perspective and say, hey, if she deals with that, maybe it's okay that I deal with that too. And maybe now I feel accepted enough to go out and seek for help. So incredibly inspiring, all the work you do around mental health. And for everyone listening, please continue to take care of yourself and ask for help and resources when needed, because Laurie would do it, so you could do it too. More questions coming in. Maria asked, how did you balance time practicing, school, and spending time with friends and family? I'm sure that's a lot. So talk us through the balance of everything.
Yeah, so my journey in 2016 is completely different than my journey right now. I graduated high school already, so I'm currently not in school. The pandemic gave me some time to take some online classes at UCLA, and there were no competitions, so I had the time to juggle school, gymnastics. I ended up flying back home to New Jersey so I could see my family. So it was a very easy juggle because of a weird circumstance. Whereas in 2016, that was really rough. It was juggling high school, it was juggling physical therapy, and then trying to train for the Olympics, and then also trying to see my friends. But most of my friends were at practice, which was really helpful. So I feel like that one doesn't count. But yeah, going home and wanting to spend time with my family, it was a really difficult juggle. However, being able to communicate with everybody and say, this is going to be hard, I'm going to need help in whatever capacity that is, it kept everybody in the loop, and everyone was really lenient with me. When things got hard, or when I was kind of in a bad mood because I was tired or whatever it was, I got a little grace from that because they saw how hard I was working and they let me in that way. So a lot of communication going on, a lot of doing school over the weekends, but you know, a juggle is a juggle. The goal is always balance. So yeah.
Balance it is. I love how you said, you know, you're still in high school as you were training for the 2016 Rio Olympics. In high school, my excuse was like, oh, I'm sorry, I have to go to the dentist. Yours was like, no, I'm training to be an Olympian. Okay, guys. And then you went on to win 2 incredible medals. So again, you're incredible. I like, I'm so excited. I feel like I'm blushing. I'm so excited. I'm like, I'm meeting a hero of mine. All right. What was your best memory from the Olympics that you can share with us and why?
Ooh, I have a lot of good memories from the Olympics. Okay, I'll do in the competition and then I'll do outside of competition because those are like 2 different worlds. Inside of competition, there was this moment of like after team gold, we were waiting in this hallway so that way we can all march out. So they would do 3rd place, 1st place, and 2nd place. So when we walk over, it's just exactly where we're supposed to be. And we were waiting in this line and kind of standing there. We walked out, we stood up on the wood. And I remember kind of standing there and going, I am never going to get this moment again. And I need to take in as much as I could. And so I started kind of recounting my surroundings as if I was describing it to somebody else, which I've never done that before. I've had no reason to do that. And I remember thinking, okay, well, like the walls are green, the floor is cream colored. I have shoes on, which on a gymnastics floor is different and weird. I'm standing on a piece of wood. They're playing like, you know, our country's like song because we won. And there were just all these things that I was absorbing and it just was surreal. I don't really know how to describe that. There aren't much words for it. Outside of gymnastics, there was one time where Simone, Ali, and I were in our rooms. Actually, I think everybody was there and we had our scrunchies, and this is actually not really bad, but we had like a balcony door and it was like from the room. And so we opened the door and then there's like a little balcony and then there's, you know, of course there's the outdoors. And we were taking our scrunchies and seeing if we could slingshot them all the way past the patio. And they weren't really going, they were landing on our patio. So we were just going pick them up. And we all ended up getting one like over the edge, like just randomly, like at the Olympic Village, there's just a scrunchie lying on the floor. Like it just was so random and so weird, but it was funny to see all of us just giggle and do this stupid thing.
Right. And it humanizes the moment, right? Because there's already so much pressure of the Olympic Games and competing. And then it's like, of course, you know, one of your favorite memories is giggling over flinging scrunchies, right? But again, just kind of recenters everything and gives in perspective that you're competing amongst best friends and you're representing your country. And you have to take those small, fun moments for yourself as well. So I love that. Isley asked, my 5-year-old daughter, Isley, would like to know, what is your favorite color and what is your favorite song to dance to?
Ooh, I would say my favorite color is green, like a plant green. I just think it's really pretty. And my favorite song to dance to would probably be, I'm going to throw it back. You know, your kiddo's not going to know this one, but Never Too Much by Luther Vandross, because that's a song that I used to hear like every Saturday night in my house. My dad would blast music and that song was just everybody's kind of party song. It's either that or Getting Jiggy with It. So
Hey, Getting Jiggy with It. I feel like I could dance to that one. I can go out on that and dance with it. Isley's mother and is going to have her look up Luther Vandross. So let's see if 5-year-old Isley likes that. We will see. All right. Kayla has a question. She's from Monterey, California, and wants to know, what advice would you give a gymnast about resting and dealing with injuries?
Yeah, there's kind of this thing in gymnastics that they don't really teach you where the line is between I am tired and everything kind of hurts, but I need to push so I can be better versus I am tired and everything hurts. I should rest now until I feel better. And it's a juggle that even still now as a pro athlete, this is my niche. This is my home. I'm still learning how to do that. So it's going to take time and that's okay. However, just trying to kind of be in tune with your body and listen to those signs of like, okay, is this pain a sore pain? If I get moving, will I feel better? Is this something that maybe I can just condition today and not tumble and I will still be making progress because I'm making myself stronger but not hurting anything? I'm tired, but I can still do more. I feel it and I know I'll be better for it. And if those are all answers that you have, then yeah, keep pushing, keep going, because that's where all the good stuff happens, you know? But burnout is very real. And feeling an actual pain in your joint or something where, I don't know, let's say you're picking up a cup and it hurts your elbow. That is something at home, that's your daily life. That is a warning signal that your body's giving you, saying, hey, I've just given you a red flag. I need a break. And if you don't listen to that, then your body will eventually make you listen. So just kind of pay attention to that warning sign. But if you're feeling like, hey, I'm sore, I'm tired, but I'm still ready to keep going, that's awesome. If you're feeling like, okay, I feel like my limbs weigh 1,000 pounds and like very groggy, kind of foggy minded when you're at practice, then that's really important. I mean, anything is important to talk about, but that feeling is especially important to talk about with your parents and with your teammates and with your coaches, because they will understand that and they can work something around that to keep you safe.
Sounds like the takeaway from that is really advocating for yourself and listening to your body and understanding, yes, I can push through this, or you know what, I need to take a break and I need to be able to have that conversation and advocate for myself to make sure that I can be the healthiest competitor and gymnast out there. Cindy.
Yeah, and sometimes there's, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, please go, please elaborate. We want to hear.
You're good. No, just sometimes there's that moment of like, your brain will block you and say like, you can't do it. And then you'll kind of use needing a break as an excuse to not do the thing. And that's kind of where your coaches come in and they're like, no, you can do it. And that's where it's really important to listen to your coaches, because they also know you best. And those moments where you don't want to do something and they're pushing you, it's okay to listen to them and to trust them, because that's why they're there. But at the same time, we're taught to listen to authority when we're little and obey it, because that's what makes us great, is that they know what they're doing and we're trusting them. However, you also come first. So it's okay to speak up and let them know, hey, I'm really tired. Can we do something else?
I love that. Amazing takeaway. So speaking of mental block, this is a really good transition, because Cindy asked, what is the best way to get over a mental block or an event or a skill that you're afraid of?
Yeah, I actually had a mental block a couple weeks ago, which they're never fun. Wouldn't wish them on my worst enemy. The best thing you can do for a mental block is to talk to your coaches about it. And before even doing that, asking yourself, what exactly am I afraid of? Because the thing that we try to avoid, like, oh, I'm not scared, I'm fine, this isn't scary. And then your body flukes out and you're thinking like, oh, well, that's what happens when I try to do this skill now. I'm never going to be able to do it. And it turns out it's actually just your mind getting in the way. So being able to pinpoint, I'm afraid of falling on my face. I'm afraid of wiping out. I'm afraid of getting a beam burn. I'm afraid of missing my hand on bars. Like, I'm afraid to land in a certain spot. A lot of those things have solutions, and being able to talk them over with your coaches, they can help you make the environment safer so you can trust yourself. But at the end of the day, no matter how many mats you have, no matter how many spots you get, you're probably going to be scared because what we do is absolutely crazy. But you can be scared and still do it. You don't have to feel no fear to try something new. That's where the rush comes in. And that's why I don't really like the word fearless, because that's not realistic. Everybody's really scared. But to feel the fear and be like, I am terrified, and then still do it anyways, that is a really powerful thing. And that's what makes you great.
Love it. Thank you for an awesome question, Cindy. And of course, an amazing answer from you, Laurie. All right, Tracy Green wants to know, what was harder, dancing on Dancing with the Stars or training for competition?
Oh, I think Dancing with the Stars was a lot of fun, because it was 11 weeks of just pure, like, I have to learn how to be a professional ballroom dancer in a very short amount of time when I have no experience whatsoever, versus gymnastics and the Olympics, which was, I have 11 years to get ready for this one moment, like just this one thing. So I'd say the Olympics was harder because it was more time and there was a lot invested in that. However, having to look professional after only a week of learning, this genre of dance, it was pretty nerve-wracking, but I had a really good time with both, and I'm so grateful for both.
And you took home not only 2 Olympic medals, but you also took home the mirrored ball trophy because you were the champion of season 23 of Dancing with the Stars, a guilty pleasure and a show that I binge watch intently all the time. So we love it. And I'm sure the competition side of training for the Olympics and, you know, being a professional athlete, that also retrains your mindset so that once you went into Dancing with the Stars, that 1 week period, though it was incredibly tough, like you already had that mental toughness and that skill to really be adaptable, which I love. All right, more questions coming in. Marcy wants to know, when you were at the Olympic Village, did you have the opportunity to meet athletes from other countries?
Oh, I did actually. What was neat was that all the buildings that were around us, when we would stand on our balcony, they would put, you know, their country's flag on the building, and each country had their own apartment building. And so you had like the United States, and then you had Russia and China, and it was just mind blowing to know that there was this country and then so many sports in that building. And I think you met the most athletes when you went to the cafeteria and ate, because everybody's got to eat. So I remember like walking kind of back to our apartment complex and seeing Michael Phelps with his headphones in, and it's just kind of like, you know, all the girls were like, hey, like good luck, and he was like, oh yeah, you know, like thanks. And he kept walking, and then I kept walking, and then I was like, wait, that was Michael Phelps. Like, I mean, there was this moment of geeking out because I was a child and had no idea what to expect. I also got to meet Usain Bolt because I know Michael Phelps is from the United States, but I got to meet Usain Bolt, who is the fastest man in the world, essentially. And he was just chilling at the cafeteria, eating right behind me. So that was a lot of fun. We met Cuban basketball players and we took photos with them because we're all in like the 4'8" to 5'4" realm, and they're like in the, you know, 6'8" to 7'1" realm. So that was really fun to stand by them.
I'm sure the photo, it's like they were up here and you guys were down here, and you're like, oh,
the person taking the photo had to move back pretty far
to get you in frame. I love that. Incredible. And I also love that you guys would all hang out and meet each other in the cafeteria, because I mean, what's better than food? Absolutely nothing. So even your favorite athletes go hang out in the cafeteria, and then you guys commiserate and have some fun. All right. We have had so many people joining us from truly around the world. This is a global event. I'm going to read off some locations where our service members and their families joined from. We had service members and family members joining from Virginia, North Carolina, California, Italy, Ohio, Maryland, Japan, Texas, Nebraska, Louisiana, Alabama, Washington, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Germany, New York, Hawaii, United Kingdom, New Mexico, Kentucky, Colorado, Arizona, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Kuwait, Okinawa, Iraq, Nevada, and New Jersey. Whew, that was a lot. That means people truly from all around the globe tuned in today to hear from you and just wanting to take part and seeing your light and seeing the magic that is Laurie Hernandez. So we're so incredibly grateful for you. And I know everyone who joined us live and all of those who are going to watch this session later are going to take away so many of the gems that you dropped. But before we go, I was wondering if you can give an amazing message of support to our service members around the world.
Yeah, first of all, just a big thank you to everybody for what you do and for protecting. You know, it is appreciated. It doesn't go unnoticed. And we love you and we support you. And especially to all the kiddos out there who are, you know, constantly having to hop around and change where you're living or change your gyms. Know that you are very strong for that. And I know it may seem like, oh, well, I don't have a choice, but you know, essentially you could stop or you can do other things. And you still choose to try to be optimistic and to enjoy yourself. And that's going to get you really far. So if the pandemic has taught us anything, it's knowing that change is inevitable and scary. And sometimes it happens out of nowhere, and acceptance is a powerful thing. So just do your best. And sometimes things will happen and they're out of our control, and that's okay. You just do the best that you can. And know that everybody has your back and that we love you.
I love that. See, I know you grew up in a family of therapists and people in the mental health field. I want you to be my therapist. Okay, Laurie, can we offline about this? If I could hear these messages of support and all of the incredible, encouraging things that you have said today, I think I would be a better person for it. So thank you so much.
Got you.
All right. Did you guys hear that? Laurie's going to be my therapist. We're going to get this together. But thank you so much, Laurie, for joining us and all of our incredible service members from around the world. There is so much more to come, though, and we want you guys to continue to take part. Please check out uso.org/MVP for more information on upcoming USO MVP entertainment events. Thank you so much, Laurie, and all of our service members and families around the world. We will see you next time.